Hey, we're here at Sports Page Bar in Mountain View, home of Google, NASA, Android. My name's Ari, and I'm here with my good friend Christina.
That's right. It's actually my video.
It's actually her video. She stole it from me.
But like he said, we're hanging out in a cool sports bar that is the sports bar of the Googlers.
Yeah, it's probably been here since even before Google.
Yeah, we can check on
It's
that.
got a lot of heritage. No doubt, it's got a lot of heritage behind it.
Yes, and we were initially planning to.
Walk around the Google campus, find some cool spots there to look at and just get the feel for. Unfortunately, the Google security campus is all closed, and the security is being very strict on enforcement.
Yes.
So they didn't want us around.
Yes. So they said, scram. They saw us and they said, get out of here. Nah. So yeah, well, we decided to find this cool spot. I've never really actually hung out here. I don't really drink beer, and so I don't go here. I used to just hang out at the Google cafeteria.
But you're a huge sports fanatic, right?
More than anything, I used to hang out at the Google cafeteria.
Okay. Yeah.
You forgot to mention the NASA. Did you see NASA? NASA's also here.
Yeah, NASA's
here.
They have
you
the
gone-
giant hangar.
Okay. Have you gone around NASA? Have you checked it
I
out?
have, not recently.
Really?
No, not recently, but
But before?
Yeah, there's cool. They host a whole bunch of other stuff. It's not really
When they were launching like these.
other flights. They sometimes have military
Right.
flights out of
Yeah.
Moffett Field. And there was this really cool thing called Singularity University, which was hosted
It's
at
there?
the NASA campus for a while. This was maybe like 10 years ago or so.
Singularity University.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that Singularity University.
Right. So the Singularity University was an outgrowth of the Singularity Summits, which were focused on how technology is shaping the future of humanity.
Future of humanity.
Yes.
I might not belong to that.
Right. So,
Just let it slide. So, what else?
well, it's interesting that you say that because the future of humanity might be to transcend humanity, which is essentially what the singularity kind of boils down to.
Okay.
It's a point in the future where technology sort of takes over, and the kinds of intelligence you can get out of silicon supersedes and supplants the intelligence that you get out of carbon-based life forms like humans.
So if you notice how he talks, that's a typical Silicon Valley chit-chat. And just to give you a clear example, this guy here is a very good example. Now, whether that's good or bad,
Remains to be seen. We'll see how my Bitcoin does in the future.
so describe a little bit of the feeling that you get when you are here in Silicon Valley. And besides, what the heck does that mean anyway? Some people are still kind of, I don't know, confused. I think everybody sort of got their own versions of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, sure.
And so, yeah, I thought that you would be an excellent person to describe that. So get a little bit closer and kind of explain. I like this song. And Nikki.
Yeah, so Silicon Valley means so many different things to different people, right?
Okay, so describe. What the heck does that mean?
Well, there's a quote. I think it's by Neil Stephenson, and he said, "The future's already here. It's just not evenly distributed."
Okay.
And you can see that in a place like Silicon Valley, where you have some incredibly high tech, like the highest of the high tech developments going on. But then you also have all the sort of everyday stuff, right? Like, we were just up at a nursery in San Francisco. And
It's not Silicon Valley. That's
it's not.
San Francisco.
Well, San Francisco is pretty much part of it.
That's
Many
right.
of the Silicon Valley
Yeah. It's like the
individuals live up
it's
there.
sort of like the marketing, finance people, creatives. those are the ones that are there.
Yeah, even a lot
Crazies.
of Google employees
That's
back in the
right.
day moved up there.
Yeah, because they actually have a campus there. They do have a branch there. A friend of mine who is more based there. She would have some events and she would tell me.
Yeah. I remember they had a bus that would actually run between the Google campus and some places in SF. And so I knew some guys who would take that
They
for
have
their commute.
startup people also there, like the founders. Is it Launchpad or something? Something like that. That's what it was called, I think.
Yeah. It's very hip and happen in real estate, San Francisco.
Okay, so you've described a little bit what Silicon Valley is like. Did you? Or did I miss it?
Well, there's so many facets that, I mean, the description could take, hours and hours. But as I was saying, there's this growing dichotomy between the high tech and then the very low tech, like, a nursery or a gardening co-op or something. Those things, have existed for millennia. And then you have other things like cutting edge developments in AI, which is like the future, right? And so you have the whole gamut in Silicon Valley. 100 years ago, a lot of the place that is now devoted to, say, a Microsoft building or a Google building, it used to be orchards, peach orchards, apricot orchards, right? And 100 years before that, it was all wetland, and you would have, migrating ducks and geese and all sorts of things. So,
Okay.
so in a lot of ways, Silicon Valley epitomizes the rapidity of change that the whole world is being transformed by these days.
See, the bathroom is behind you. Maybe we get a better angle.
That's part of life too.
Okay, so tell us, how do you know all this stuff? Did you grow up here? Do you actually, I don't know, what makes you someone that we can trust on the deets?
Yes, I did grow up here, and I'm someone who's interested in a wide variety of topics. So like many, I've explored the sort of the gamut that Silicon Valley has to offer. It's all fascinating. I find it, I mean, to me personally, it's all part of the universe, right? And so that is inherently a fascinating subject.
And what is your main interest? Give everybody an idea of who you are, what you're about, so that we can kind of have a context. What the heck are you talking about? Why are you talking about that stuff?
Well, so my background was very technical, primarily in data science, statistics, number crunching, to boil it down. But more recently, I've really gotten intrigued by the more human element and sort of human interactions and social intelligence, right? So we're talking a lot about artificial intelligence and how Silicon Valley in many ways is like the epicenter for developments in artificial intelligence. But there's also social intelligence, which is something that right now I am much more interested in developing for myself and understanding.
Okay, all right, I get that. So I'm gonna do a few parts of this video, and I think that just allows us to kind of breathe a little bit, enjoy the ambiance, enjoy the bar,
Eat our tuna
melt, and finish our drink. But on top of that, just also pace people, and the next part of this video will focus on what we have in common. So where we're connected, how we're connected, and what are the things that we find we're missing, we're trying to develop in ourselves, we're trying to help others also develop. If anybody's ever seen Ari in any of the videos, you're very lucky, because he usually doesn't go in all the videos. The truth is, this is probably his second time, so props for the guy. And yeah, stay
Tuned?
Stay tuned for the next
Exciting installment.